Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. Now, India may have beaten Pakistan by 5 wickets in a thrilling encounter, but right before the match, when the Indian captain Rohit Sharma revealed that Rishabh Pant will miss out and Dinesh Karthik will be playing the game ahead of him at the toss, it sent social media into a tizzy. Even former players, commentators, they were all trying to wrap their heads around this decision of leaving a player who's been given the T20I captaincy against South Africa in June earlier this year. The same player who the team management had tried at various positions just so that they could fit him in, because we all know Rishabh Pant is a player who can single-handedly win you matches. He is India's best wicketkeeper batsman. He may not have the numbers in T20 internationals, but if you look at his recent performances in limited overs cricket, his numbers have been getting better. For a team management that is known to back its players, give them a sense of security, was it the right decision to drop Rishabh Pant for Dinesh Karthik, who has in fact struggled to replicate his IPL success in T20 internationals? With a lineup that has players like Hardik Pandya, who can play the finisher's role, does India need a super specialist finisher, Dinesh Karthik, with a very limited role of batting in the last 4 overs, or an X-factor player, a match winner like Rishabh Pant, who can bat up and down the order, change his game accordingly, and in fact has a better strike rate than Dinesh Karthik this year? Joining me on this special as we discuss this is Santosh Suri, who joins us from Dubai. Santosh sir, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. Now, this is something, and I know that India won that game, and when you win, a lot of those questions are not asked because, you know, the win overshadows it all. But nevertheless, it's an important question. And I'm not taking anything away from what Dinesh Karthik has achieved this year, especially in the IPL. He has brought RCB back into a game when all was lost. You know, he's done that at least 5-6 times in the IPL. But in T20 internationals, he hasn't been able to replicate that success. We'll get into the details. But how surprised were you yesterday when, or day before yesterday, when at the toss it was announced that Rishabh Pant was not playing?
Actually, when I took my final 11 before the toss, I had Rishabh Pant in the 11. Even I thought they may adjust some other player to get Dinesh Karthik into the 11, but never thought that they'll drop Pant in favor of Dinesh Karthik. And looking forward to the World Cup, do you think that Pant is going to be your wicketkeeper, or Dinesh Karthik is going to be your wicketkeeper, or this is just one-off to try out Dinesh Karthik, or to sort of punish Pant and tell him that you will have to improve your T20 performance if you want to be a regular in T20 cricket. He has, of course, shown enough prowess in ODIs and Test matches, and he has, like you said, he has brought India from the brink on so many occasions. So probably I think the team management should have confidence in him. Probably what Ravindra Jadeja did for India against Pakistan, if Pant was probably playing in that position, he could have played that role and got India home. But then these are all speculations and hyperbole. It is whether he would have done or not. Now, we'll see what the future holds for Rishabh Pant.
You know, that then brings me to the next question. Will this dent his confidence? I mean, at the end of the day, he would have wanted to play that Asia Cup, and you've done everything. I'm going to we'll talk about this, but let's put some of the, I mean, there were others who were just as surprised. Former Indian cricketer Gautam Gambhir, he was extremely shocked by that decision, and this is what he had to say. And I think a lot of people would have felt that way. And he said that you need a left-hander in the middle order. And we saw that Ravindra Jadeja was sent up at number 4 because of that. India have a lot of right-handers there, which is one-dimensional. And he has done reasonably well. He can be someone who can open the game for you, and he can be a floater as well. A bit surprising, but I hope it's not long-term. I will still back Rishabh Pant ahead of Dinesh Karthik. It is a massive surprise indeed. So I think it wasn't just us. There were former players who were talking about it. And I think Rishabh Pant would have been surprised as well, given that he'd been tried at 5, then sent up at number 4, then 5 again, 4 again, then was made the captain of the T20I series against South Africa at home. And then from there, you made him open against England in those couple of matches. And then come Asia Cup, in the opener, you drop him. I don't know how that would impact his confidence.
Actually, the good thing about present day cricket is there is a lot of communication between the team management and the players. They exactly tell the players what the team is planning, and if he has to be dropped, he is not dropped at the toss, that he comes to know at the time of toss that he is not playing, like it used to be in previous eras where at the last moment a player will come to know that he is not playing.
Yeah.
So that phase is gone. So this present management has a lot of communication with the upcoming players, and those players who are in 11 and those who are also not in 11, they are explained what their role is going to be, what the team is planning. So of course, as journalists and media, we would never be privy to that type of discussion, but we can only guess that probably he was well informed and he has been told about his role in T20 cricket. And I think tomorrow's match against Minnows, Hong Kong, I'm sure that Pant will be given a chance to, come in the 11 and, open out his, bat and be, come into the form or whatever it is that the team management wants to him.
Yeah, that just takes me to the next question, and I'll put that question to you about what his position should be. Should he bat at number 4? Or maybe, just maybe, given that KL Rahul with that golden duck, not enough match time, should he open with Rohit Sharma? But just hold that thought, because I'm going to put some numbers up for Dinesh Karthik. And he's somebody who, who's been phenomenal in the IPL this season. One of the actual reason why he was brought back into the whole T20I setup. But look at his numbers in T20 internationals since the IPL. I'll put the IPL numbers as well, but since the IPL, and those numbers will tell you that unlike in the IPL, where he was striking at 183 plus, he's striking in the 16 matches that he's played at 133. 139 is his career strike rate. So I said T20 strike rate, that has declined in T20 internationals, 133 this year, and hasn't been able to replicate, as I said, the IPL success in T20 internationals. Last 5 matches, he's scored, there was just that one innings, 41, which was impactful, and overall in those 16 matches, 3 impactful innings. So what has happened since the IPL is, and it's a very clear comparison because he's played 16 matches in the IPL, and I'll put those numbers up as well. 16 matches in the IPL, 16 T20 internationals. In T20 internationals, he scored 193 runs in those 16 matches, whereas look at that now. In IPL, 330 runs, averaging 55, strike rate of 183. Phenomenal performances. His strike rate has dropped to 157 in the last 5 overs in T20 internationals as well. And that was his strike rate in IPL. So in the IPL, in the last 5 overs, he was striking at 207, whereas in T20 internationals, that has dropped to 157. So when you talk of this super specialist role of a finisher, is he really doing that job in T20 internationals? Santosh sir?
Actually, when we compare IPL to international matches, it is like comparing, a top grade international match to a domestic IPL, where he gets more chances in IPL because he has greater role to play. But in international matches, when it comes to Team India, there are so many of, superstars who bat above him. So most of the time when he comes, he either gets very few overs or very few balls, maybe 10, 15 balls, and maybe when he comes, he's under pressure or whatever. So the pressure of international cricket obviously cannot be compared to the IPL.
Sure.
So probably one would not be very surprised his strike rate comes down, his average comes down, his impactful innings come down in international matches. So probably that's the reason why the team management wanted to test him against in a high-profile match like Pakistan, but unluckily he faced just one ball, so you
Correct.
can't decide now in one ball, and there is a big dilemma now whether to give him
Exactly.
another chance or whether to bring him Pant. And it is unfair to both. If you drop
Yeah,
either of them, it is unfair to both. If you drop Dinesh DK, you feel that he just faced one ball and he didn't get
I
opportunity.
get it.
And if you don't bring in Pant, then you feel that you are wasting your
Tremendous
talent and
talent.
keeping him on the bench. So either way it is going to be a very, very tough call for India in the next 2-3 games.
Also, if we saw that quote from Gautam Gambhir, Harsha Bhogle also spoke about it. And in fact, he also said that possibly you'd see Ravindra Jadeja batting at number 5. And in fact, Jaddu batted at number 4 because of that left-right combination. But this is what he said: leaving out Rishabh Pant is a huge call and a sign towards the favoured lineup at the T20 World Cup. It is also an acknowledgement of how India wants to play with DK as a power finisher. But my problem is that limited role, like you yourself said right now, Santosh sir, about how you have some of the other bigger batters above you. You're not even getting the opportunity. And when you come in, you're only facing very few overs, very few deliveries. How can you then strike at that in international cricket? It is a difficult one. And he's also gone on to say, Harsha Bhogle, don't be surprised to see Jadeja at number 5 today, though. And which is what we saw. Jadeja came up the order to disrupt Pakistan's bowling attack, to just make sure that they don't get their left-arm seamer Mohammad Nawaz to bowl to him, and then that went right towards the end. Then we saw what happened in that game. That's the other thing then, right? With the left-right combination, that's a clear-cut advantage. And yes, Jadru did that job in the last game, but Rishabh Pant could have done it, like you said yourself. Do you believe then that, like you yourself have said right now, that it is a difficult one for both of them, but given the team requires role clarity for each and every player. In this team right now, what is more important? A Rishabh Pant who can play that flexible match winner up and down the order, or a very limited super specialist finisher who comes down, especially with the kind of form that Hardik Pandya is in. He can play that role of a finisher for you.
Absolutely, hit the nail on the head by saying that it is Rishabh Pant who has greater role to play in the team. He can be a very excellent wicketkeeper. He can be an excellent motivator. He is, up the order, down the order. So he's much more, versatile and flexible than, say, Dinesh Karthik. So any day, I'll pick Pant ahead of DK. And that should be the strategy. And since we have very limited time, say 40 odd days to the T20 World Cup in Australia, I think we should stick to our original 11 that we hope to play there, rather than experiment at this stage and still thinking whether DK is okay or how to adjust him in the 11. And see, India has always been known to be a weak batting unit against a left-arm pace bowler. So having say 2 left-handers in top 6 would be a very good idea to tackle that weakness. So I think any day Pant would be my at least the batsman, number 1 batsman ahead of DK any day. So like you said, DK has a very limited role and Pant is such a versatile guy, so I will plump for DK, like most of the experts have said.
Okay, let's also look at why Rishabh Pant should play. I think most of those points have already been made by Santosh sir, but of course, a better wicketkeeper between the two, provides a left-right combination. We spoke about that as well. India knows that. That's the reason why Ravindra Jadeja was sent up at number 4. Last 4 matches haven't been bad. 44, 33, 24, 14. Like I said, he looked to be getting better. Now, I don't know what is the impact of him being dropped from this will be in the next game if he plays. Then he scored 100 in that ODI versus England, which I thought was an exceptional batting performance by him. And then in 2022, 13 matches, 260 runs at a strike rate of 135.41, which is actually why I put this, was because his strike rate mostly at number 4 and number 5, this year has been better than DK, who's been the finisher, who should be striking much higher. I mean, DK in the role of a finisher should be striking it this year above 150. But we've not seen that to be the case. Also provides flexibility in batting, like we said, and can change the momentum of the game. We've seen Rishabh Pant do that. Now, the other question then is also about KL Rahul. What will India look to do? I know against Hong Kong, it's a much easier opposition. It's not Pakistan. There is no pressure situation. But is that something they'll look to do? That maybe drop KL Rahul and have get Rishabh Pant in? Because I think we also have to look at why they stuck with Dinesh Karthik over Rishabh Pant. That in itself is a statement as well, or what they want to do. Isn't that so?
Absolutely. Like DK, even Rahul faced just one ball. So it is totally unfair to, judge him by that one ball. Probably it was a brilliant delivery that got him. So probably team management will think that all these guys who have not got a long stint in the, first match should be given another chance. But according to me, I think at least two changes against Hong Kong to try out a couple of players should be the order of the day. But then whom do you drop? Do you drop Rahul? Do you drop Virat Kohli? Do you drop DK? Whom do you drop in this 11? The only probably guy who can be dropped is Avesh Khan, according to me.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Unless you bring, if you go with a, very single-mindedness of having this 11 only, and they fail in that, and then you have to give a second opportunity to any batsman. So it's very, very difficult from here, to see if Rohit or Rishabh Pant will be given chance, Ashwin will be given a chance, or a couple of guys who are waiting in the wings, they'll get a chance. Huda, of course, in social media, you just read that Virat Kohli is hogging Huda's, position. So these are the things that are there for team management to think and decide. And they may think there is a long time, but I think time is running out very fast. India, have to think of the, your position, what 11 you are going to play in the World Cup and stick to that. Unless, of course, these days you never know. Pant may have had a niggle, and they don't announce these days that he had niggle. Maybe to avoid that niggle, he was not played in the 11th. So you never know what that can be and why he was sitting on the bench.
Yeah, there's no clarity on why he was sitting out. But Rohit Sharma did say at the toss that sadly he misses out. Dinesh Karthik is playing, so sadly he misses out, which I think can be interpreted as Dinesh Karthik being given the opportunity and Rishabh Pant's made to sit out. But what I find ironic is, and I know that no one's touching upon this because of how India won against Pakistan, but if you just see the approach, for the last 10 months, since the T20 World Cup last year, the approach was we're going aggressive, we're going to be attacking. In the match that India played against Pakistan, first of all, your top five were exactly the same as they were in that. And the approach was also exactly the same as it was, far more conservative than what they've been saying. So that's an interesting one. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. See, much of it depends on a very good start. In both the games, India lost early wickets, so pressure was there, and you can understand the pressure of India-Pakistan game and the full stadium and the, jeetega bhai jeetega, India jeetega, and you're already 2 down, and you're already, the team obviously will feel that nervousness. The coming batsman has to say that, no, we have to build a base before we start attacking because of the pressure of that match. It shouldn't be that India in over-aggressive, approach go out for 70 or 80. So they say at least we build a target where we can, make a few runs. And same way, when chasing also, they lost those 2-3 early wickets. The thing was to, take the match as deep as possible and not be over-aggressive and, lose the plot at all. By 10th over or so, otherwise, you're going to have a solid backlash. So, so in the end, the result matters, I think, and that worked in India's favor. That, like you said, that if you win, there are so many things that are put under the carpet. So all these things have gone under the carpet. And if India had lost the match, my God, those two, points would have been, even reached the PMO of missing out Rishabh Pant and Ashwin being made to sit on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing being, I think the big difference has been, and which augurs well for India, hopefully it stays this way, is the form of Hardik Pandya and the form of India's middle order, Suryakumar Yadav, Ravindra Jadeja. They've all been contributing far more than what they were doing in the T20 World Cup last year, and around that time the onus was so much more on the top order. Now India is in situations where their top order has failed, which has been pretty often in the recent times. Your middle order has taken you through. They've finished games in a much better way. But Santosh Suri, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you'll be there with us when we preview that match that India will play against Hong Kong tomorrow. But that's it from us for now.
Surely.
News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.